Hey everyone, it's Nakul from Wicky. It's our first time doing this, but we're doing an NBA preview every week now. I'll get into explaining a little bit more about the pod in a second, but firstly, welcome to Jacob from Trypod.
Thanks, mate. Really looking forward to doing this. I love the NBA, and I'm really excited for this opportunity to have a look at a few markets with you each week.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one because I think with NRL, like Jacob's obviously been doing Tripod for NRL for the best part of a decade. I've been punting personally and doing a whole bunch of stuff with Wiki on NRL try scores, and I feel like I'm kind of becoming a bit of an expert, but I'm out of my depth here, so I'll be doing most of the hosting. We'll get most of the insights from Jacob. We'll go into the odds comparison tool and everything else in a second. But yeah, a really cool opportunity. We're going to be doing this weekly, by the way. So we're going to be doing it on Wednesday for both the NBA, and there'll be also a little mini pod with the NFL stuff as well. So we'll get into it straight away. I guess just first things first, I think for everyone who's followed Wiki stuff for rugby league, you would have seen our odds comparison tool. So we've just launched one for NBA prop markets and for NFL anytime and first touchdown. So if you Google Wiki Linktree, you can check that out. You can check out our Discord and everything else on our site for free. And Jacob, Facebook Tripod group, best place to find you guys?
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to use the odds comparison tool to find the best prices we can on particularly player props on some of the biggest NBA games each week. And so we want to tell people kind of how that tool works. And I wanted to talk to you about how it works and hopefully we can explain it to people. I mean, one thing I will say straight away with a lot of player props, the bookies often can rip you off. So it is really hard to find good value. Sometimes you find a standout price and that alone might not be value. Like, for example, you can find a player at a really high price for 8+ assists, but no bookie's actually letting you bet under 7.5 assists. So it's hard to actually know where it's value, where it's not. I'm going to try and help run my eye over it where I can. But I will say the fact that the prices can vary a lot across the bookies is power to the punter, and the odds comparison tool takes a lot of the grunt work out of it.
Yep, sweet. All right, let's get into it. So I'll do a really quick recap just explaining what the odds comparison tool is, and I'll just share my screen and show you guys. And then Jacob's just going to do a super quick run through of the season so far, any sort of like hot talking points, and then we'll get into the couple of games that we are going to talk about. So I'm sharing my screen here. You can see the NBA odds comparison tool. We've got it going for pretty much all the games on Thursday morning Sydney time. So if you can see everything here, the easiest way to explain it is we have a bunch of different markets, a bunch of different stats. I won't talk through everything, but you can see it on your screen. We've got points, rebounds, assists, and threes. You can see here, you can flick through, and if you wanted to, you could just look at one game and sort by a bunch of different things. One thing that I think in the NRL season, Jacob and I were talking about, and it is a little bit confusing if you are new to using our tool, but basically this thing here, market value. So it's not like the NRL season. We don't have model value and historical value. We've kept it really simple because it's a brand new tool. We just wanted to get it in your hands and sort of get user feedback to see what you guys wanted from us with the tool. But if you can see here, market value, it's super simple. The way that it works is it looks at the best possible odds you can get for that player across a few different bookies. So we can take this one, for example. So you can get $10 on Dort to score 20+ points on Sportsbet, but then the next best is $6.20. So all it's doing is finding the best odds divided by the second best and then finding you a percentage. And I've sorted by highest possible because we're trying to find the biggest gap between the highest price and the second highest price. And I'll let Jacob do the talking in a sec because with NRL, I was pretty confident on which try score is a great value. But sometimes you're going to get someone like who's a good example, like a prop that's never scored or hasn't scored for years. And even if he is a way higher price, he's still shit odds. So Jacob, I'll let you very quickly explain maybe, I guess your version of what you see in the OCT.
That's right. Yeah, the OCT is kind of helping us find the best of a bad bunch. You should probably assume the vast majority of these numbers are in the bookie's favor, but we have to work a little bit harder to find some outliers and find some prices that might actually be a positive expected value. Now, look, a lot of these people who are following are going to be building same game multis, and you've got several legs and you might want a few safer legs. And as you guys would be aware, there's infinite markets. There's that many teams tomorrow. There's 13 or 14 games, right? And every team might have 8 or 9 or 10 active players that night. And then you got every various statistic. We're probably going to more so talk about some longer shots, but hopefully still realistic longer shots. Market value is going to give you a good indicator potentially where an outlier might occur. but there are some limitations to that number. It's a simple equation. It's highest odds available divided by next best. Now, one flaw I can see in that, Nakul, there could be a player who's whatever, like $5 to score 30 points on 7 different bookies, but 2 bookies might have him at $8. Now, that $8 could be a great price, but the market value tool is going to say that the second best is also 8, and it's going to say, therefore, it's 100, right? So that's one limitation. I actually was wondering if it would be a better indicator if the market value was highest price divided by average price, because I think,
yes.
right? And I also think when you only have a player that's priced on 2 markets, it's always going to have a really high market value if those numbers are different, because the next best price is the only other price, but the other price could be terrible. So as I said, some of these bookies are really trying to rip you off. So you're being told market value is 200%. That's just because a player might be double the price on another bookie that's committing daylight robbery with their price. So, but if it was highest price over average, that might bring that number down. So that could be a consideration. We're going to try and get better each week, and we appreciate people's feedback as well.
I love that. And I should say, like, the plan for us is to do this over 3 months. So we're going to do, I think we've planned for 14 episodes, but the best part of just over 3 months to do this. And it's kind of perfect from a wiki point of view, because we've rolled out this tool. But obviously Jacob's helping me out with the feedback now. We'd love for you guys to give us some feedback as well, because we've done the grunt work, and with your feedback, obviously we can make the tool better. We've had 4 NRL seasons to get it to where the NRL OCT is. So we've had a lot of time with that one, and we're just getting started with this. So that sounds awesome, Jacob. Keen to chat to you after the call about about ways to improve this. I think just before we get into the 2 games that we had planned, obviously we're trying to do a mini pod, so we won't go too much into detail, but I think it's been roughly a couple of weeks now since the season started. Any sort of noticeable highlights or any differences in what you've seen so far this season?
One change this season is the in-season tournament, which I think is quite exciting. We've already had some round-robin games. It's maybe a bit gimmicky, different jerseys. The courts are all lit up, but I like it, and it's going to give us some slightly higher stakes games through November and in the early December, which gives us something extra to talk about as well. I actually have a long shot that I like, but sorry, I'm going to have to tease that people will have to check that out in the Trypod group, because I haven't shared it yet.
Yep.
So, and haven't backed it myself yet. So we'll do that this afternoon. I've got a long shot there too.
Love it. Okay, cool. We'll get straight into the 2 games. I think the plan was, Jacob, if you want to get into the first game, and then when you need me to, I can share my screen and go to it in the odds comparison tool.
For sure. So the first game we're going to talk about is a massive one. Celtics at the 76ers, and both teams are 5-1. Philly, who are at home, are actually unbeaten 4-0 at home. I'm looking at Derek White. He's on the injury report. He was highlighted in the odds comparison tool as potential good odds. I'm passing. If our players a game time decision, they may not play as many minutes. They may not play at all. So again, there's so many players to choose from. So you don't want kind of any variables that could go against you. The player that the odds comparison tool highlighted to me that I was interested in straight away is Porzingis. And the bet was 25 plus points. Now, he has only hit that once this season in 6 games. He scored 30 on opening night. He's averaging like 19 a game. But you got to remember, a couple of these games, the Celtics have had blowout wins. He's played less minutes and scored less points. This game should be tighter. It's closer to a pick'em game. And he's the kind of player that takes a few shots from the 3-point line. And some nights he's going to hit a bunch of them, and he is going to get a positive variance. And for $8, the odds comparison tool showed me I can get about Porzingis to score 25 plus. I didn't mind that.
Sweet. Okay, so just to highlight, so you had the one over here at $8. What were the other 2 again? I'll just bring them up on the OCT.
The other players.
The other players that you just that you went.
Oh,
through,
yep.
sorry.
So then I looked at Kelly Oubre Jr. I think that what I saw was sorted by market value. So I don't know if you might be able to do the same. Right. If you sort by market value, and yes, you're going to see some of these names at the top. So I talked about White. I'm going to pass on him, the injury, Porzingis, and then Kelly Oubre Jr. for the 76ers. Look, the odds comparison tool is highlighting $17 for him to have 10 plus rebounds, but this is a guy that averages 4 rebounds a night. He's played 6 games this season. I think the most he's had is 5. So it's one of those things where $17, does it happen once every 17? It doesn't feel very realistic to me, so I passed that one. My favorite play on this one was the Zinger at $8 to 25 plus.
Sweet, awesome. I can already feel myself getting excited about this. I was talking to a couple of mates and I said, look, I promised them every year I'll get into my US sports, but now we've got a couple of marketing guys overseas and they need to get into their US sports if they're going to be doing their job right as our marketing guys. So we're going to get the league pass, and I'll get into both the sports, at least with some highlights, and obviously getting some insights from you every week will help me get excited and actually put some punts on and give you something to follow as well to get into it.
For sure, it's extra exciting because I don't believe there's a single game scheduled today. I think it's election day in the US, so we've got a massive slate tomorrow, and we've picked a couple of the best games tomorrow, including the next one I want to talk about, which is Nuggets Warriors. Another beauty of a game, and this one's definitely on ESPN or KO if you catch it there. The Warriors are 6-2 and 5-1 on the road, in fact, but this will be their toughest test of the season so far. They're facing the champs, who are 7-1, and that includes an unbeaten 5-0 at home. And again, we sort by market value, and Aaron Gordon is really sticking out there. So looking at a couple of those markets, 25 plus points and 8 plus assists. Can he hit those benchmarks? And again, these are value plays, so not predicting, anyone's going to hit these numbers when the odds, like the last tip I gave was Porzingis at $8. $8. This is obviously just saying it would happen more than 1 in 8 in my view. So that's what we've got to assess here with Aaron Gordon. He is only averaging 13-4 this year, right? So we're looking at juicy prices, $13 odds to hit 25-8. Now, he hasn't shot the three well this season. So if he just has a hot night from three, that can really bump his numbers up. But the other reason I'm interested in Gordon in this one is because Jamal Murray, who is one of the primary playmakers, scorers, and ball handlers for Denver, he's like kind of 1B to the Joker being 1A for the Nugs. Murray's out with a hamstring. It does mean there's going to be more opportunities to go around. And so admittedly, Aaron Gordon hasn't hit 25 points or 8 assists this season. He has had 6 assists twice in his last 3 games. That's the one I'm looking at, $13. It's not likely, but I don't mind that as a long shot. Aaron Gordon, 8 assists. You might be able to highlight that, Nakul, just show exactly where that is. And I can move to the Warriors. And the guy I'm looking at, Kevon Looney, is coming up a couple of times, and it's his assist markets. And I am intrigued in this one, because Draymond Green is on the injury report and he is day-to-day. And this becomes an outstanding bet if Draymond Green is out, because then Looney becomes the point forward for the Warriors offense. And although he only averages 3 dimes a game, he's had 6 this season already once in 8 tries. And we're looking at 6 plus assists at $9. And what I really like about Looney, where I think there could be value there, is he had another game this season where he had 5 assists and he only played 15 minutes. And he has another game this year with 4 assists and only played 11 minutes. So if he can bump up his minutes and he averages closer to 30, then I think he can give this a shake against the Nuggets. And as you can see there, 6 plus assists, $9 best price, thanks to the odds comparison tool.
Awesome. That's really cool. It's really funny, like going from rugby league season only a couple of months ago, where you've almost done it for a decade and it's all lines and totals. Now playing with the odds comparison tool and looking at some of the value options, I can just see myself really enjoying this over the next few weeks. But no, that was awesome. I think that's pretty much the plan, right? So like on Wednesdays, we'll look at the Thursday, the main couple of games for the NBA. As I said before, if you want to follow our stuff, this podcast, both the YouTube and all the audio stuff, will be out on our, if you just Google Wiki Linktree, you'll find it there for free. The odds comparison tools there as well. And we'll put in a note or a link to the Trypod Facebook group. So obviously you can, I think, what have you got? Like 25,000 people on there on Facebook, I think? Well, it's a bit more.
Something like that.
Yeah. No, awesome. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to get on to the NFL one. So we'll get this out soon, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.